I am. Days off are difficult and at the same time are immensely important to me. I can't work out every day out of the week. That day off allows my body to recuperate, to build the muscle tissue, to adapt or adopt all of the work that I've put into my body. So days off are really important, and I need to allow for them. But unfortunately, they also become very busy in a way, because on the regular work week, there isn't time to do certain types of shopping, do certain types of things. So those things are what I have to do on a day off. The best thing I do for myself on a day off is give myself a massage. The massage really brings all of my work out into fruition, so to speak, giving me a really limber body, a really wonderfully luxurious feeling, and it gives me an absolutely beautiful 2 hours of time to relax and rest and be in that manipulation by fingers of the masseur, who really pummels me, and it feels really good to have the muscles really pushed around. Very, very pleasant. It took me a long, long time to settle into massages. I've had many difficulties. And it mostly comes from people who claim to be masseurs or masseuses who don't really know what they're doing, but they feel like they can rub at your body, and that they know because they can rub your body a bit. The Balinese are very wonderful in massaging. They have a wonderful technique, especially the place where we go. We've developed a wonderful relationship with them, and I feel very trusting in the manipulation of my muscle tissue by my masseur. So I am now a day past my day off. I take a day off and not talking on this also, because I think a day off is all about just letting it be. Just no walking, no anything, just whatever comes up. I work on this, all right, that's good. I don't work on this, it doesn't matter. But today, on my beginning workout, my first day, which is a much more relaxed day, I try not to be too hard on myself as I stretch and push and pull and dance. After a massage, I'm so limber. Everything is so easy. And that tells me also how important the massage is. So it seems as if I'm going to continue with stillness again. But stillness is so important to me that I can't help but talk about it all the time. Meditation and stillness are not the same. Meditation is an easy stillness. meditation is doing a quiet thing, focusing on something in a safe space, in a safe position. Stillness, for me, is placing myself in the most difficult environments and being still there. Focusing my intent there. Feeling the universe there. And that's the difference. Meditation is always done in an easy environment where people can't get distracted, and mostly they don't need to be still. They're just focusing on something, and they are somewhat still. But stillness for me is adopting stillness in a somewhat dangerous environment, a very crowded environment, a very energetic environment, and still maintaining focus and stillness, and doing so without moving a muscle. So I do not allow for the parallel consideration of meditation and stillness. Stillness is a droshi method. Meditation is more having to do with yoga. For droshi, being still is all about being ready for whatever comes along in the fine energy field. And thus, being still, receiving, and acting. So, I wanted to make that clear. I wanted to really continue elaborating on stillness, continuing to have it clearly presented so that it is not mistaken for the very almost light types of meditation and things that are all about just relaxation. Mine is almost in the realm of a battle to remain still while being flooded by fine energy fields. One of my friends once said, "It's easy being a monk in a sanctuary, but to be a monk in a city, now that is a real accomplishment." And that is a wonderful statement, which applies to stillness. Stillness in the midst of so much activity, as opposed to meditation in a quiet dojo or yurt or pyramid, where everything is quiet, where maybe even there's this delightfully simple music playing that is relaxing. That's not what I do. The topic of evilness has come up so strongly for me lately. This, of course, is another topic that requires forever discourse, dialectic, everything. Socrates, in dealing with it, deals with it in a certain way. I will not deal with it as Socrates deals with it. I will deal with it in a very subjective way, because I am not going to try to find out and describe to you what evil is, because sometimes it's extremely religious, the notion of evil, And that's not what I'm going to be speaking about. As you say, as you know, I eschew religion. There is no religion that has captured my faith. My faith is completely free. I am not under anyone's control. Therefore, evilness to me is a very complex conception. Some of you think of me as evil. I know you do. I just was informed that another one of my sun dances became viral on your phones. It's all over the place and tons of comments, the usual slanderous, subjective, critical, judgmental comments that try to undermine me in some way or other, try to set the commenter up as some sort of arbiter. But it doesn't matter, because I will continue doing what I do. I won't say I am not evil, because to some people I am. To some religions I am. And you see that phrase has come up right there. To some religions I am. I am. What I more want to focus on is that, again, when I was 2 years old to my 8 years old consciousness, and people would curse us out and harangue us and throw things at us as a family, as a mixed race family, as a free mixed race family at an early time, before civil rights, before the Educational Civil Rights Amendment. They would curse us out. In a certain sense, they were evil, weren't they? They were evil, yet they didn't know what they were doing. They were acting upon their prejudices, on their racism. But they were evil, because what they did harmed me. What I have done in order to come out and come from underneath the bad behavior that they showed towards my family is epic. I can say that to arise and to lift myself up in such power and such grace and such true expressive grandeur from all of that evil behavior that people showed towards my family is very special. And that's why I can stand in the middle of the street and sing and dance and do all of my stillness, because I am immensely powerful because of that. So, how does that work? These beings were so evil, and at the same time their actions created me in a certain way, created a strength in me that is so able to deal with your racism and your prejudices and your judgments and your criticisms. I can be pummeled by you and still sing back and make you blanch and run for cover without a weapon. And from a place of love, too. Rageful love, angry love. So were they evil? Their acts were evil, because their acts were meant to destroy and hurt and give some people problems, us and others. I have had now the possibility of having met some of those people who expressed those things, who called me nigger to my face. And now they're not doing that. Now they're apologetic. Now they're understanding. A lot of people are understanding that way. And some of them who did things like that have done retribution, have done a kind of atonement, that's a better word for it, atonement for their bad behavior. Can evil change? Can an evil energy become something else? Can it evolve into a good energy? Can those beings who cursed us out and threw things at us, can they in the future, and the kids who followed the parents' actions, can they evolve and become, let us say, good through atonement? What then is that evil? Is evilness a moment? Hitler's behavior, Hitler's actions are always and will always be considered evil. If it weren't for him, we would have another one of his kind in our midst. Because it was because of him, because of his bad behavior and evilness, that allowed that society to recognize that such evilness could exist. So is that good? To prepare us for somebody who could have been twice as bad as him. And I know of some people who could have been that way. But we were on that watch because we saw somebody behave terribly that way. Such evilness. It is because of recognizing evilness that we are able to evolve. That evilness, in a certain sense, has a part of the evolutionary process. It is evilness without atonement. It is evilness without apology. It is evilness without apology. That leads to more evilness. Because people recognize and see that that evilness went unpunished, so therefore they continue imitating that kind of behavior. Thus we have all of these trends. Thus we have all of these trends that are using evil behavior behind them to do bad things. And yet they look good to everybody, and everybody consumes them without knowing that there is evil underneath the behavior. Slavery was evil. It was done by the United States and many other countries. The Romans did it. The Church, Catholic Church did it. The Christian Church did it. Many people throughout the world had slaves of other people. This is bad behavior. This is evil. Slavery is not good. However, one can say that the evilness that was expressed through slavery, that was shown through slavery, resulted in some things that were good for some people. It is a complex problem. Religions make it easy. They say, he's evil because he doesn't believe in God. He's evil because he doesn't follow Christian tradition. He's evil because he's not Islamic. He's evil because he's not wearing a burqa. He's evil because he's half naked, or he is naked. No, that's not evil. The religions themselves have been evil also. evil in their control of people's faith for the sake of lies and false myths and stories that have been made up by very unscrupulous people. Of course, that's evil too. But there's good that has come from these myths. There's good that has caused some people to behave beautifully and wonderfully and really helpfully to humanity and the world and the universe. It's very complicated. However, evilness must be atoned for. Evilness must be apologized for. It must. In order for the evolutionary process to take that evilness and turn it into good, it needs apology. And the USA has never apologized for the slavery, ever. Slavery has been kept by the United States as something somewhat hidden. Oh, it really didn't happen. As I've said, a person who is close to me, somebody who I know very well, told me right to my face, sitting there, oh, slavery didn't happen. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Slavery was the horror of the United States. It is the reason, and I have said this and I will say it over and over again, it is one of the reasons the United States is wealthy. Without slavery, it may not have become as wealthy a nation as it became. And because of that, it needs atonement, it needs apology, and it needs a full apology, not silly behaviors. Not silly, somewhat behaviors. Not somewhat, but fully. So the United States can evolve because it's still right now. It is extremely still. It is on the verge of electing a person who is, and could be, in my consideration, could be considered evil. A person who lies, who undermines people, who hurts them, who says things to people that are untrue and mean. That person should not be elected to an office as presidency, because he will not cause the apology to happen. In fact, he will entrench the racism and prejudice further. I do not speak of politics. Politics, again, is a relative and very corrupt environment. People want power, therefore they do anything to get power. It is very much like getting materials. People want a car, they do anything to get a car. They want money, they do anything to get money. All of this stuff is material. Need, wealth, desire, it's all. And what happens to people is their desire to get wealth, their desire to get power, their desire to be famous causes people to behave badly. Bad behavior. Bad behavior verges on evil behavior. Evil behavior could be said to include murder, violence, rape, slavery. This being who is and has just recently had somebody try to kill him is capable of the most evil behaviors. He is capable of doing extremely horrible things to people. He is capable of having slaves. If he existed in the 1800s, he would have had tons of slaves, and he would have spoken of it as being his right to have slaves. I know this, and I see this in him. Others do not. others who tout him as being the next wonderful president, that he would lead us, the country, into greatness again. Not into greatness again, into bad behavior again, into evilness again. That's where he'd lead it. Unfortunately, the attempt to assassinate him is working in his favor. And he will spin it in a way that will allow him to foster his evilness over the country of the United States in a way that is so underhanded and problematic to me. I am not speaking of politics here. I'm talking about a human being who is not very evolved as a human being and is extremely mean and cruel. A mean and cruel being. That's what I talk about. So can I say he is an evil being? I can, but I won't. I will allow all the things that come about in the future to show everyone what evilness is. One of the things that Hitler did to get power was he seduced people. He seduced people with rhetoric. He seduced people with this same pride in something, some pride in what they are, some pride in their heritage. And he used a microphone in a way that nobody had before him. Those people who had the voice, had the power in their vocal strength, did not have microphones. The microphone happened in the 20th century. It allowed for certain people who were very average in power to become extremely powerful, extremely famous, and extremely wealthy. And because they became wealthy, powerful, and famous, everybody has copied them since then. I speak of Hitler, however, because when he spoke and he used his microphone and he stood in front of that microphone and used the intonation and the sounds, that his vocal quality, he hypnotized people, especially Germanic people. I know this because I have a vocal power. I have an immense vocal power. It's because I have this immense vocal power that I adopt this attitude of humility, this attitude of non-materialistic behavior, this attitude of kindness, this attitude of death, dying well as my foremost intent. Not getting power, not getting material, not getting your guru control, not controlling your faith, but dying well. Thus, I separate myself from doing any harm to you, because in dying well, I just seek to not do anything, not hurt anybody around me, and die well, and give you the gift of my voice. Hitler did not do that. He did that to gain power, to hurt and to kill people. That's what he did with that microphone and his voice. This being who somebody tried to assassinate, who knows who that assassinating being was, who tried this, because who knows what this person is. He could be anybody. He could be a setup. He could be set up by this person to get that kind of attention. He has that kind of manipulative quality to him to be able to do something like that. This person does not have the vocal skills that Hitler had, but his ability to manipulate people through lies and through the notion of getting back power, standing up for the true American, so to speak. This person is so possibly evil. He is so much what I would describe in my understandings of evil. He is extremely dangerous as a being. He is simple to me. As a Twoman being looking at this human being, I see him for what he is. But for other human beings, you do not see him very well. There is no reason that he should be in this position to get a presidency of the United States. However, that's because the United States never atoned and never apologized for slavery. If that happened, then this person could not be placed in an elected position. Never, ever would the country allow that. On my walk today, I saw the most beautifully huge spider. She had made a web so thick and so woven and so fabric-like across an entire space of trees. And she sat in the center of this web, speckled, striped, still invisible to most. It's beautiful, beautiful spider, about my hand size. A little less than my hand, but about that size. Slender, not like a tarantula, very slender with slender legs that clung to her web. And there she waited and was waiting in stillness for her meal. I sang to her. To the animal that gets caught in her web and becomes consumed by her, she must appear evil. Even so, I sang to her. My song is for everybody. My song is for those who would act evilly and for those who would act good, because I live in the world as a Twoman being in a neutral state. My gift of my expression is for everybody.